All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Wednesday workshop. My name is Mike Stratton. I am a systems engineer here at Verify, and I'll be your host. I'm joined today by another system engineer here at Verify, Mr. John Deline. John, how's it going?
It is going fabulous. It's a beautiful day here in Wisconsin.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so for today's workshop, John is going to show us how to, will give us a fresh look at incorporating the rate tables into our dashboards and reports. So let's get started. So we're going to start off with a quick overview of our company and what we do. Then we'll jump into a live Q&A. A live Q&A, or then we'll jump into a live demo where John will dive into the rate tables. We'll pause for a Q&A and get some of your questions answered during the demo. If you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the Q&A panel. It should be in the bottom right corner of your screen. And then after Q&A, we'll award one lucky attendee with a $50 Amazon gift card. So hang around to see if you may have won. Uh, Quick overview of Verify. Verify is the preferred analytics and management solution, providing industry-leading CUCM, CDR, UCCX, and Cube analytics, along with fully customizable dashboards, remote phone control, change, and DID management. Also new to the Verify software is WebEx calling reporting analytics and Zoom phone reporting calling and analytics. Um, but today we're going to focus on rate tables. If you have any questions on any of our other features, please feel free to send us a chat in the Q&A panel or reach out to your account manager for additional information. And one more thing before we kick things off, Verify does offer a consulting service that provides you a personalized experience with your Verify system. Verify SE or Verify's SE team engages with you on a one-on-one basis to remotely provide additional consulting, unassisted reporting, dashboarding configuration, and system monitoring assistance. This is a service that provides you with a dedicated Verify SE to do all the heavy lifting, giving you a completely hands-off experience. For more information, please contact us, and we'll be glad to speak more in depth about our enhanced consulting service. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into the wild. John, take it away.
All right, let me see if I can get my screen shared. All right, are we seeing that?
Looks good from my side.
All right, well, thanks for the intro, Mike, and welcome everyone to this week's webinar where I'm going to be digging into rate tables and the use of call types to enhance the reporting capabilities of your Verify system. Now, rate tables aren't a widely utilized feature given how technology has effectively obsoleted a lot of time-based rating, and significant budget impacts that are based on minutes and terminating locations are kind of a thing of the past. But a case can be made for the use of rate tables and categorization by call type and budget allocation and reconciliation in other places as well. Now, because Verify uses CUCM as our source of truth, rate tables provide a way to fill in the gaps where we need data elements reported based on information not available from Cisco. Rate tables and call types provide us with the ability to do this. So I'd like to start with an overview of where you can see the rating and call types expressed within the Verify system. So what you see on my screen here is a dashboard, and there are three CUCM widget types that utilize or can utilize call types and rating. The first one that you see there at the top is the call distribution widget, where if you set up a primary grouping type as call type, you will be able to see for whatever search set you've configured the call types available. The second widget that can incorporate call types and also costing in this case is the grouping statistics. With this widget here, I have both the primary grouping set to include call types, and I also have the costing included here. Many other columns are available. I just wanted to keep it nice and trim here. But you don't have to have the call type as the primary grouping. You can also use whatever other field you might want to have it broken down by. So with this one, I set it to separate by department, also to include the total cost category on this grouping stat widget. The third widget within CUCM is the call history detail widget. And for this one, I based it on the same information as above, but I included a couple of the fields that are available from the rate tables. Primarily the call type being the most important one, because that's the bucket that the calls are put into. And then there's a number of informational fields that can go along with that, one of which is the call type description or the call accounting description, which for these I have the state in there. And then there's also the call accounting cost. We'll go ahead and go over into the reports where I have a call history sample up that shows all of the available fields that you can configure within rate tables. Now it's overkill what I have on the screen here, and I don't expect everyone to use all 9 available fields, but for demonstration purposes, I wanted you to see what you can have both on the detail widget and here within the reports. If you include details on your report, you'll have available the call accounting rate, which would be the period amount, the description, as you saw in the widget, and then this combined field of the rate and the duration. So if you have call costing that isn't based on a full minute, this may be the field that you would choose to use so that you show that it's based on 30 seconds or 6 seconds or some other increment. And then the second most important field here is the cost, the calculated cost based on the rate and the time to get that cost. And then the currency, in this case USD, the call type. I have a very simple rate in place currently, and maybe at the end I'll change it so you see something a little bit more elaborate, where we just have the long distance and local buckets here. My rate table doesn't go down to the city level, so I just put in a placeholder there for the area code. The state, this could be the full state name if you're using the description for something else. I have abbreviations in here, and then we have the country. So now we'll get over into the reports where I have a sample report that we'll jump into to show where the call types and rating is expressed within the call analytics reporting piece. So my sample report here under the grouping stats, the accounting call type can be used as a primary grouping type to organize the grouping stat subsets of the calls. It doesn't have to be the primary grouping though. If you wanted to, you could use several of the CUCM fields or device where it would have a option as a second grouping type there, so that you could have the call types broken out within a device or a department or some other entity. Down in the call details, as you saw in the history that I had up, you can include any of those 9 fields. I have them all included over here on the right, but if I didn't, let me jump them back to the left there. They conveniently appear at the bottom of the detail column types list. So I want to show some sample reports. I didn't want to take up too much time waiting for reports to generate, so I generated a few in advance. They won't all maybe have the same total call counts because I didn't generate them all at the same time. But here on the screen, we have a breakdown where the grouping stats is by department and then subdivided by the call type. You can see here, rather than just long distance, local, and so forth, I have this broken out in regions. Like let's say that you have sales teams that are responsible for specific regions and you want to have their calls broken out so you know where they're calling. You could build a rate table. In this case, I did a pretty elaborate table with all the area codes, 348 area codes in the United States broken out into regions. I did that because we had a customer that actually was looking for that. So on this example, I included the no associated call type so that, as you're building tables, if you exclude those, you might be missing patterns that you want to have included, or, you might not get a full view. So when you're initially setting it up, you might want to have the associated there. In this case, I jump down to that, and I see that my rate table doesn't have 1888 in it. So then if I wanted to, if it was relevant, you'd go back in your rate table and figure out where to put that and how to get it in there based on those patterns. Here's another example, just same departments, just broken out more simplistically by inbound, local, long distance, and toll free. You see on all these examples too, I have that call accounting cost field over on the right. Here's one department, not by call type, but by the end users. So you can see that we can organize the cost based on things other than type, in this case, people. Here's an example. If you were just looking to break out your inbound, you had different gateways or different services that you needed to break out. A rate table could allow you to achieve that that separation. Then a couple other quick examples here. I have a state ranking, so you could set up a rate table by state if it's relevant, or even by country. So if you have people calling the Somali pirates, you could know about that, keep track of it. I want to jump back into the report real quick because I should have shown you too under the grouping stats where the cost gets put in. Most people familiar with system know when you're setting up grouping stats, you have your grouping options. I just should have mentioned there that the accounting total cost is available there in the grouping stats. All right, so now we'll get over. I've shown you where it comes out of the system. You're probably interested in knowing where it goes in. So under the settings wheel, under rate tables, the system section there, rate tables, that'll bring us in to what I have here on the screen now. And I have several rate tables set up for purposes of the demonstration here. I'm just going to jump into this basic table. So here, there's a table built out to assign a call type to conference bridges, internals, inbound, and outbound. So let's say that I want to add 800 to this. Could do the add rate option here. Once we're in here, we have a number of sections. The top two sections is what we use to say what the criteria are to categorize the call. So the origin for an 800 isn't relevant. Since I want to have, well, I'm going to go ahead and put an 888 here because that was the one that was missing before. So I'm going to do a starts with 888, and I'll set the length to a minimum of 11 so that if there's any other patterns that go on. But there's a good time to mention that all the conditions here within these fields, the call origin and call termination fields, they are cumulative. So it's an and this and that. So when I set this up, the calls to meet this criteria, they have to start with 1888 and they have to have a minimum of 11 digits. If I were to put anything else in here, that would add another constraint to that. So you can get really specific, really granular in how, in how finite you can get down to, target what you want for a given call type. In the third and fourth sections here, this is all the information from the details before when I showed you all those 9 fields. So there's 8 fields here, and then there's that combined one where the rate and the duration are combined. So that gives us our 9. And most of them are optional. You don't have to have a city, state, country. I just did in some of my examples, but you do have to have a call type. So I'll just put that in as 888. And then you do have to have something in there for the rate, even if it's not going to come back as 0, have to let the system perform the calculation. So I'm just going to click add rate there. And now that one is in there. Just to take a quick look at some of my other, let me see if I can find a good one here this one was so much fun to make. So I'm going to jump in here. So this one has 696 rate lines. I put in the 348 area codes, both with and without the leading one. Hopefully your environment will be a little simpler. Maybe you have E164 where maybe you have the +1. You have to account for that within the rate table if you have variations. But here for Alabama, you can see in my example, I just said this starts with area code 205, minimum of 10 digits in this case, because without the leading one. Then I populated the city, state, call type, and so forth. Now, one of the great things about the ability to work with the rate tables here is the ability to export and import. So let's say that you got started in here and you realize it's kind of a bigger task, a data entry task or whatever, and you're more comfortable working in Excel. You can simply export what you've worked on. And there's 26 convenient columns in here. Conveniently 26. I shouldn't say that they're all convenient. But you can go through and, you know, copy columns or extend rows and fill in, like in the case when I was developing this, I took the area codes, the final destination there, and duplicated it. So I had the 1 and the 9. I did that in Excel because to enter in another 348 individually would be real time consuming. But doing it this way, it was just copy, paste, and so forth. And let's say that you wanted to have multiple options with your rate tables. You wanted to make the states the call type. It's as simple as swapping columns and maintaining your headers. The headers are critical. And so there's a lot of that you can do in here. Be forewarned, I figure most people are probably better Excel than I am, but the fields when you bring in a CSV, they do need to be modified to be so that they don't, like if you have international or the plus on E164, that you're not stripping that off or losing that. So you want to change the cell properties to accommodate that as text fields. And then once you'd have that done, then you'd be as simple as importing, jumping into the wizard, doing your file, say, going out and grabbing the file and then bringing it in. All right, so now let's say that we've got our rate table where we think we want it. How do we get the system to look at it? So again, up under the settings wheel, you do that at the cluster level under platforms, CUCM clusters. I'm just going to go into the Mexico City cluster here. So you see right here, I'll slide it up a little bit. Selected rate tables. You can have multiple rate tables and you can select the priority in which the system reads them. So like in this case, I have the US based, the simple local long distance inbound, and then I have toll free to look at next in Canada and then internationals. So you can create a hierarchy of tables. You don't have to try to squeeze everything into one and the system will take care of doing the lookups in the order that's the most efficient based on what you put in here. Now, just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and throw in my US by region here. I'm going to get rid of this guy. So I'm going to jump back to this one. So you remember this distribution thing where everything was just long distance inbound and so forth. Once I save this, it takes just a second. I'm going to jump over to the dashboards from this screen. So the same dashboard will come up and you'll see how it now has gone through and adjusted. Drum roll, please. Well, while I'm waiting for that to render, I do want to make sure that everyone knows about the past webinars on rating. There's been a couple of them done, probably more than I'll point out here. But two in particular, if you're logged into the website under the webinars, and you scroll down to where the Cisco CUCM CDR, you just do a find on rate tables. Here we're seeing today's session. But in this advanced call type utilization, Matt did a great job of presenting scenarios for the use, making cases for using rate tables and call types. And prior to that, Matt and Victor did initial one. It's actually very relevant, even though it's a couple years old. So I'd urge you to maybe go watch those too if ratings in your future. And you can also feel free to ring us up and or open a request with us. We're happy to help with this. I enjoy working with the rate tables. Here you see that my dashboard has refreshed and all the inbound outbound toll free has been replaced with the regional call type information throughout each of these. There we have this Southeast and North Carolina. So that is pretty much all I have to present today. Hopefully I've given you a little bit to chew on and maybe think about incorporating into your reporting. Mike, has there been any questions come in?
No, it's been pretty quiet. If anybody has any questions for John, go ahead and please feel free to enter them in the chat. If not, we can move on to the gift card. Going once, going twice. Okay. Yeah, John, if you're ready, I can take back control. We can wrap it up.
Yeah, let's see if I can.
I got it. I think I got it.
Turn on it.
No. All right, should be back on my screen. All right, John, great job. Definitely great job. A lot of good information on the rate tables. We can skip the Q&A. And it's time for the moment we've been waiting for. The winner of this week's workshop gift card is. I click on it. Ramiro Reyes, congratulations. We'll have your account manager reach out to you shortly to get you paid. And then also, wrap things up, we will be at Cisco Live. Feel free to stop by and see us at booth 9205. And next week, register for the real-time Hunt Pilot widget workshop, where Victor and Trey will show off the new Hunt Pilot widget. Thank you everyone for taking time